comes to your mind when you hear the make it happen mode? This can be any aspect of your life, whether you want to make it happen, that relationship works, or a financial goal, or a career change, or learning a new skill. You just so want it that no matter what, I'm going to make it happen, right? This is so me, and I really want to show you, because I was so happy when I found this journal, because it says make it happen, right? And for so long, I didn't realize that exactly that mode, how much suffering that actually created in my life. I don't know whether you are aware, but leave some comments down below, right, for us to share. Let's explore this together, because we all have different aspects, different perspectives, different insights, different learnings in our life. And the more we share, the more we can grow together, right? This is the main reason doing these videos, right? It's partly for myself, for my own growth, to kind of document that in a sense, to help me to not slide back like I did, right? This last month, you might have noticed that there wasn't any new videos, because I really slipped back into this make it happen mode. There was this one goal, and I wanted it so badly that I didn't even realize that it's like narrowing everything in. And I'm so it's a hyper focused, right, mode towards this outcome. And I don't even know how to describe the energetics around it, what that feels like, right? Because it's almost like everything else in your life it doesn't even exist, right? It's an unhealthy hyper-focus. Perhaps you can relate, right? Some people talk about they're really struggling about staying focused when it comes to studying or doing tasks or finishing things, right? And how much that creates suffering as well. I had that part too. I could flip between one extreme to the other extreme. Perhaps you can relate, right? But I thought I am now at a level where I can detect that quickly. And I just realized this last month, perhaps not so quickly, right? It took me a month to actually catch myself again, and it is because I still had this journal. I was going to get rid of it ages ago when I did some decluttering, but for some reason I hang on to it, and the minute I saw this journal, I saw the make it happen on it. It was a reminder for me, oh, that's right, I slid into this narrow vision, hyper focus, I want this so badly energy, that everything is focused towards that. And let's explore this a little bit, right? Because the way I would have addressed this 10 years ago, right? The way you may have heard me talk about this on some of my older videos on the channel might be very different to how I approach this now. So I want to put that out there too. So I don't know where you're at in your life, if you're just going through a mental health crisis. Maybe some of the older videos are more applicable, maybe not. Or maybe this is more helpful now. It is to me, so I'm just gonna openly share it, and I'm just always curious to hear what your thoughts are on this too. But what I'm doing now is allow myself to pause, and I realize the minute I pause, it feels really uncomfortable, right? There's some chaos going on in my body, or a friction. It's really hard to explain, because it's just kind of energetically, it's a sense, right? It's sensations, really. If we pause long enough, what is it actually that we're trying to avoid, trying to run from? What is actually underneath all that might driven us to achieve this one outcome? And it doesn't even matter what that is, right? I'm not even it doesn't matter whether this is a career goal, a financial goal, a relationship goal, study goal. It really doesn't matter. What underneath there is, for me, it's a sensation of fear, right? Something that I would label as fear, that I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to go there. But when I allow myself to pause long enough to just be, so that is different what I used to do in the past, right? In the past, I would have been a lot more analytical about this. figuring out my thoughts around this and my feelings and labeling things, labeling sensations in my body. I'm steering completely away from this because I realized that this is actually where I create most of the suffering. This is a trap for me. I'm highly analytical, like I used to be a researcher, right, in the medical field. So the analysis, trying to find solution and problem solving thing, that's what I tend to go to. But I realized that it didn't actually stop my suffering. It shifted it and changed it. But what has helped me a lot more now is actually noticing it. Oh, here is some thoughts again that this is unbearable. I have to have that. This is not safe. I know that the kind of stories that are coming up, to just notice that and pause that and almost like dropping into your body if there's such a thing. It's not even really possible in a sense. For me, it works best if I actually just lie down. You know, some people prefer sitting. I like to really just lie down and just really feel about where the sensation is. So it is a question that I'm asking myself, but I am not looking for a thought answer, if that makes sense. So I'm not looking for my mind to come up, oh yeah, it's kind of in the stomach area or something like that. I'm not interested in any thoughts. I'm just going, where is the sensation? And going deeper and deeper into the sensation, falling into the sensation in a way. It almost, for me, it almost has the opposite effect of when I go into this hyper focused drivenness, right? That with that willpower that I force things to make. It is that very narrow, closing down, kind of honed energy. When I'm dropping into exploring the sensation, it's almost the opposite. It's an opening up, if that makes sense at all. It's a very different kind of feeling because I'm no longer looking for words or anything. I'm just trying to allow that to appear, and I'm realizing that most of this, in a sense, it expands beyond the body, right? When I really allow myself to drop into this and almost like lose myself in that sensation, become that sensation, being from that sensation without creating stories, just allowing it to be there. I realize that the only time this creates suffering is if I get caught up in a story, right? If I describe the sensation, oh my gosh, this is anxiety. Am I going to have a panic attack again? I better go and use the strategies, right? That kind of mental patterns or stories and behaviors that I used to slide into, right? It still shows up, right? I can notice that, but did you create enough distance to see the thoughts, but don't be pulled into the story, if that makes sense, right? Some people use the analogy of a train, right? There's a train of thoughts coming past. The train pulls up in a train station. You have a choice whether you're going to get up, whether that train is going to take you to the destination you want to go or not, right? But it's similar with a thought. Are you going to go on to that worry train to do the worry loop or the anxiety loop or the sadness loop or the depression loop, right? All these kind of things that we used to hop onto. Or do I let the train go in and I say, oh yeah, that train, I know that train, I've been on that for many times. Not today, no thank you, right? And let that pass, just let it pass without me being consumed by it, becoming part of that story, right? I'm trying to, not even trying to, I don't even have the right words, just getting lost in a sensation, right? So that's an invitation for you to explore that, because I had so much anxiety in like years ago when I still had some mental health crisis and things like that. That's why I said if that's where you're at, this might not be the right thing to explore, right? I've done a lot of work on these things already, and I learned a lot of strategies and things trying to manage my anxiety and stuff like that, and it had some benefit, all right, I don't know. I'm still here doing videos, so it's but I'm just really curious what else is possible, right? If I actually don't fight that sensation, if I am not scared of being anxious, right? That kind of loop. If I just notice that, not labeling, giving it any label, and the more I fall into the sensations, for me, it's almost like a sameness. Not in a boring kind of way. Again, this is so hard to actually put words to this. But you realize that when you stop labeling everything, the sensation of joy and the sensation of anxiety, the sensation of pain and stuff, it all becomes much the same. I am creating that with my mind, whether this is going to be good or bad, and so forth, right? You know how we do that? The good and bad kind of stuff, but that's a whole different story. But I just really wanted to highlight this because I found this book. I knew I kept this for a reason. That I needed this because I really got sucked into this month again, right? Or this past months. Now I kind of like, oh yes, it happened again, and to always celebrate those kind of things, right? They're all opportunities. They're not taking. I no longer take myself so serious. It doesn't matter, right? I slid into that. Obviously, I enjoyed this experience of hyperfocus and tension, right? It creates so much tension within our body and tightness, and we miss out on so many other things. And perhaps I had this experience again, just so I can do a video for myself, and so I can watch this sometime later again to remind myself to not slide into this. It's so easy for me because this used to be a habit. Right? I don't know whether this is for you too, but we all have certain habits that they're almost like magnetic, right? We don't even notice, and whoops, here we are again. And it's like, yeah, it's no big deal. It's really no big deal. So, just wanted to share that. Thank you. Bye.